had a number of facilities that had been using the older Prox technology, which is a low-frequency system for opening doors. Roughly 40% of our schools had this technology in them. It would be expensive to replace the hardware and networking systems that were in these facilities. So we looked for a second alternative, and that second alternative was the ability to distribute to our teachers and staff a dual card. That card had both a high frequency and a low frequency antenna in it. And the end result was that staff could access these doors. There was no issues whatsoever. Meanwhile, our students' cards were going to only be the high frequency, because at the current time we had no doors that we wanted students accessing. But as we moved through this process, we did see in the future that there would be doors, particularly on buildings that had outer buildings. Many of our high schools have 2, 3 different buildings that students move between. And we do see the need there to, again, secure those doors, and the student cards would open those as we put in the new technology there. The administrators for the elementary schools, part of the planning committee, brought to us early on that K through 3 probably could not handle the one card lariat and identification card hanging on their neck all day. So what we did is we introduced fobs, and this is a round device that again is synced to every student by their ID. And that way in the morning when they arrive, they would use the fob to check in. The ID card and the lariat would be hung in their locker or cubby, and then as needed they could wear it. So if they were going down the library, they'd put on their lariat and card and walk down to the library, use the card to check out materials, etc. It's a real community concern when we announced that we were bringing the one card system in. Many of our parents were asking if this had GPS in it, and the answer is no. Our system had no GPS in the card. The card is actually a static instrument until it's placed near a door reader or other readers on a printer or whatever. It has nothing that can be tracked whatsoever. When you do tap in, yes, we know that at that time that card was used. Beyond that, we don't have any information there. On the second part of that is the card itself. The staff card had the staff person's name on it, and it had their title. The student card had the student's name and the student's graduation year and their picture. We did elect in our system to use barcoding for certain aspects. That barcode could be used for checkout of media services, barcoding for inventory purposes, etc. It was also used in our timekeeping swipe clocks. So, a lot of people say there's too much information on these cards. We kept the cards to very minimal. Even the barcode was a secondary code. It was a made-up code that internally could match to the student's ID. It was not the student's ID. So we protected the privacy of our students and staff to make sure that there was no leaking of information.